guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Nanny News. It's your host, Ashley, aka Nanny Announcements, and we are on our fourth interview, guys. If you haven't watched any of the past interviews or these past last episodes all month long, first of all, you're missing out. And second of all, let me tell you what's been going on in this channel. So for the whole month of June, we have sat down with 5 extraordinary nannies and allowed them to hear their nanny story, how they became a nanny, why they became a nanny, and why they're continuing to be a nanny as well. This week is all about Sarah, aka the modern nanny. If you don't know who Sarah is, well, you're about to find out exactly what she brings to this industry. She specializes in teaching us about burnout and what a burnout nanny looks like and how you could become a burnout nanny and how to not become a burnout nanny. So let's sit back, relax, and let's get to know a little bit more about Sarah, aka the modern nanny. All right, guys, we are sitting down with Sarah, the AKA the modern nanny, and we are so excited to be sitting down with you today and allowing you to share your nanny story, your journey, and all the things that you've been going through as a nanny. We're going to kind of start out with the first question is like, where you're from, where you're working at right now, and how long you've been a nanny.
Cool. Yeah. So currently I am in San Diego, California, sunny San Diego. Moved from the San Francisco Bay Area, which is where my childcare journey really started. And really is, because right now living in San Diego, I've kind of been able to pivot and be what I call a child caregiver coach.
Okay.
And so like in San Diego, I've been able to dedicate a lot more of my time towards that, which has been really awesome. But previous to that was all the nannying stuff. I got my start in childcare as a behavioral therapist. And I was entering into people's homes, doing play-based therapy. And I felt like I could see the impact that I wanted to make, but it was just like slightly out of reach because of like all sorts of nonsense. And so I pursued nannying as a way to be really intentional with my care and be able to go beyond that, whatever the barrier was that was preventing me from creating real impact. And so I pursued nannying, which was amazing to be able to really kind of do whatever I wanted, like kind of make my own curriculum, kind of make my own play-based therapy with these little ones. But there's just this crazy aspect of nannying that you don't realize until you're in it, that you're not just interacting with the little one. You are also creating relationships and dynamics with your boss parents. And I was kind of protected from that as a behavioral therapist because different role, a little bit different, like they kind of see you as an authority figure as opposed to a nanny. It kind of was a different dynamic completely. And so I had to learn these ins and outs of the industry and really learning how boundaries could have prevented my burnout the entire time. Had I really stuck in my boundaries and believed in them from the get, and really pursued it from that lens, as opposed to the, I'm going to give everything, give my all, give like blah, 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 full out compassion fatigue. Yeah. Learning how to do that in a safe, healthy, sustainable way, because this industry rocks. And like, we need to keep like tons of amazing people in this industry and prevent them from burning out like I did.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, so were you a burnout nanny? Is that how you started the modern nanny, burnout to boundaries?
Yes. Yeah. So I think that because it kind of like took off so quickly, I think people missed like the first like few months of it where it was like, I was not pursuing this as a way to like make noise in this industry. I was not making it in a way to teach anybody anything,
Yep.
to advise anybody. It was really just to make connections, because in my deepest of burnouts, I was like, this is only happening to me. There's no way other people are experiencing this. They must be able to say no super easy. They must have no problem with this whatsoever. And so really it started as a way to just be like, are there others like me? Is it just me?
Yeah, like you're trying to just making a connection to others. Yeah.
Yeah, to
I
make
know
a connection.
exactly.
And then all of a sudden, everybody was
It's
like, that's us. This whole industry, we haven't been talking about it. We need boundaries and we're suffering burnout. And I'm like, okay, there's a huge need here.
here. Yeah.
And so I spent several years of my nannying career, like several years of it in the depths of burnout, like working 55-hour weeks and then a weekend and then right back into the 50-hour week and then not getting off until Sunday and then being like, I'm dying. I hate myself. I am not doing anything. I have no activities. I'm too tired to do them.
Yeah.
It was just this whole thing. And I was like, the minute I started saying it out loud, other people were like, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing that too. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? And then it just kind of grew from there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do everything that I learned, because I was in the depths of it saying yes, 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 even though I was no, please, no.
Right.
And so I really, really dedicated a lot of time to doing boundaries. And it wasn't very pretty at first. It was really awkward and really like, some people did not like it.
No, yeah, it's a hard conversation that you have to have, and those hard
exactly.
conversations.
But I was learning so much, and I was like, I'm learning the ways to do this with this specific dynamic. Yeah. And it's so interesting. Sorry, my dog's got her little tippy tappies, her little nails. I forgot what I was saying. Impa.
I think that your page is really cool because I first started being in it. I've only been a nanny for like 4 years. So I've only been in it for compared to some others, I've been in it for some years. So your page was one of the first people I kind of like followed, and I was like, like, it got me, because when I first started nanny, I was like, I had no idea what the heck I was getting myself into. But then seeing your pages and learning that, like, yours was like one of the first people I followed, and I was like, oh yeah, like I definitely need this. Like, and so I've been very good about trying to keep my boundaries and setting them into place in the beginning. But yeah, your page is one of the pages that has helped me a lot through all that. So
thank you. I really appreciate that, because I remember I was listening to like a podcast, and they were saying how there's a lot of lessons that they learned that they feel like they didn't really have to learn. Like if somebody would have just told them, they're like, I wouldn't need to learn this. And so that's kind of how I feel about this. Like I went through some really tough boundary conversations, some really, really icky things that were said to me that weren't fun, that weren't nice, that rubbed me wrong. And if I had been in any other different space, it would have been like destroying to me. But because it was like my purpose was, I'm gonna set boundaries and I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna learn this good. Because of that, I'm like, okay, now I can tell all these people, like, I learned this lesson so that you don't have to. Like, I don't want you to have your boss parent tell you, like, are you calling out because you hate us and this is terrible, and all sorts of things that are like
dramas that they be trying to start with.
Exactly. That I'm like, every nanny that has come up to that conversation has come up with all of those excuses and ideas in their own brain before they even came to that conversation. They don't need to hear it from you. No, like we're already really hard on ourselves.
Yep.
So yeah, that's basically it. Is like, I'm like, I learned these lessons and I don't really think I had to. Somebody could have just told me. Yep. And now I'm like, I learned these lessons, so I'm going to try and share as much as I can so other nannies don't have to experience that. Like, it would be amazing if my Instagram page became obsolete because there was no need for boundaries. There was no burnout in the industry. Like, that's my goal. Like, that I can just stop talking about this because
That's
everybody's
what you did your purpose.
kosher.
Yeah, yeah, you made your purpose. Yeah, no, I feel you on that. Like, yeah, that's something in our industry that, yeah, we're just hope one day it is we can be done. It's like out there and we're all like accustomed to it. But like you said, parents are a whole different world. So every family's different,
Right.
every boss is different. So boundaries
Yeah.
are different and learning how to set them for that family. And sometimes it takes a couple weeks to a month to a couple months to figure out, oh yeah, that's the boundary I need to be focusing on. So
Exactly. And sometimes we come up with like ones that are not even the real, like they're just like a band-aid to something. And it's like we haven't really investigated what's really important to us.
yes, yep.
Um, and it's like we might get really upset that they showed up late, and like we might be like, okay, we need to charge a late fee. Like, I'm really upset about this lateness. But it's like, okay, why are you upset about the lateness? Like, let's go a layer deeper. You feel like you were walked over or unseen or like taken advantage of. Like, let's deal with that. It's not just the
Mhm.
band-aid of like the late fee. Like that's a great exercise to do, but it's a layer deeper of like, we're not just here to be burnt to the ground. We're not here to just light ourselves on fire to keep everybody else warm. Like there's a purpose for us staying sustainable and healthy and a-okay.
Right. Okay, so let's go with a couple questions. So since are you currently working with a family right now, or are you just doing your modern nanny thing?
So when I moved, because we moved, it was a really convenient job switch for my husband.
Mhm.
And so that was a really, really hard conversation for me to have because I had been with this family. They were the family that I really hit my burnout stride with, the
Mhm.
family that I tried all these boundary nonsense with, went through some weird combos, some weird, and then was able to kind of succeed. And then when the pandemic hit, it was really like we were in our groove. I had set my boundaries correctly. Like they were like, you are our savior.
Yep.
But and so that was a really tough one for me to you would think it would be really easy for me to leave because it was a train wreck before, but it was
Mhm.
still very difficult for me to leave. And so I'm not currently like full-time with them, but I do take on like a little bit of a tutoring position,
Okay.
so I can stay connected with them, and where they are at in their school age because they're a little bit older. I help them a little bit with their transitions, but right now I am not. I am kind of just fully, other than that,
Uh-huh.
really pursuing this caregiver coaching.
Okay.
And I know it feels really strange because I think we have this idea of like influencer culture or like, yeah, just, people are like, you're trying to monetize everything and da 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 da. And it's like, I'm really just trying to reach the masses. Like,
You're
I just
right.
want to get it visible. Like, I don't.
You- So since you aren't, what is some of your like daily schedule like, excuse me, for your like what's your daily schedule now since you're not kind of nannying? So like how do you, yeah, I guess what's your daily schedule like?
Yeah. So right now it's a big chunk of like content creation and like really doing that. But a lot of the times I'm spending most of my day in the DMs with people,
Okay.
just really conversing and really having a lot of conversation. Eventually, sometimes those turn into my 1 hour intensive. So that is another way I spend my days. I usually have like 2 to 3 a week.
Okay.
Um, where it's just an hour, like kind of mindset pick me up. Sometimes we go through our caregiving journey and we're carrying all these like icks and things that somebody said to me wrong and da 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 da. And we're carrying it all. And then we start talking with somebody and all of a sudden it's like, blah, 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 blah. We didn't realize that we were hanging on to that. I didn't realize I still had that in my bag, like all sorts of stuff. So sometimes my DMs will turn into that, which is really fun. And that's a way to spend my day at like a longer time. But a lot of my time right now is really just connecting with people and making those connections. I'm really, really enjoying lately, like connect, like being a matchmaker almost with other nannies. Like, hey, I know this person's also in this area.
Can you, yeah. Can you help? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah. So that's a big portion of my day. And then my latter half of the day is still like the tutoring with with
kids.
that family. But
Yeah.
it's been an interesting journey just learning this new skill set, because as a nanny and a child caregiver, like it's almost like the back of my hand. I'm so second nature at it. I'm like really, really good at it. I can just like slip into it. It's no big deal. And then I pivoted towards this entrepreneurial space where I'm like, I am a kindergartner. I know nothing. I'm not like Miss, I can jump in and be all cool, because it's totally different. I'm used to interacting with these little ones and talking to them. Now I'm talking with adults a lot and having to like,
it's like a whole different aspect.
Whole different world. It is nice though, because most of the adults I'm talking with also talk to kids, so we can kind of like enter into the
so they understand your language.
Exactly. They understand what I'm talking about. But it's been really, really interesting learning this new thing and being an entrepreneur. And then just seeing all these other nanny entrepreneurs, and it's amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel you on that one. I'm like, it's so cool. That's kind of why I had to start nanny announcements. I was like, we gotta get some noise out here.
Yeah.
So, what are some things you have coming up with Modern Nanny, or with with yourself? Do you have anything coming up like big wise, announcement wise, anything like that? Any events, any speaking engagements, or you're just rocking?
I was thinking, because we just finished like International Nanny Day and Nanny Palooza and INA, all those things, which so it's kind of like we're in a lull.
Did you go to the NIA?
I did not.
Yeah.
I'm hoping in the futures I will be able to do the traveling and go and do all of that. I'm like, one day I want to do like a Modern Nanny tour and just kind of like see everybody that I'm like.
I feel you, because I'm like, I know so many nannies all over the United States. Like I can
exactly. And I'm like, I just want to see their faces.
Right. They're like, come. I'm like,
I want to be in their essence.
But no, I feel you on the conference. It's a big commitment to commit to a conference, like the traveling and then the conference fees and then the hotel fees and all that.
Yeah, so. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in like a lull in the industry. So I don't have anything big coming up yet, but yeah, it's kind of a nice lull to be in after all of these trainings, because it kind of is like everybody's sort of still talking about them and like I learned this, how can I implement this? And so like this is kind of a sweet spot of like there's not a whole lot of big talks and big conferences, but there are a whole lot of like we got some rumblings going on, and I love that. Yeah,
we rumble a little bit, and then we're about to be getting them out with these conferences with Nanny Palooza and the International Nanny Week coming up, and so yeah, I feel you on that one. I guess what would be, since you aren't since you're in entrepreneur life now, but when you were a nanny, what was one of your favorite things that you love being a nanny? Like, what was the favorite thing about being a nanny?
Well, I love just in general how our little ones are like sponges of everything. And sometimes that can be really scary and really daunting, because you're like, what are they going to pick up that I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But when they do kind of like remind you that they are picking up your stuff, it's like really, really sweet and very like rewarding.
Yeah.
Like I used to have this phrase. I used to say winner, winner, chicken dinner all the time when we were like playing a game. And then one day the little one just like all of a sudden, winner, winner, chicken dinner, like something completely unrelated. And I was like, it like informed my soul. And I was like, it's so random, these like little reminders that they're watching you and absorbing you
on their life.
just your being.
Yeah.
And the impact that you make on their life is really less so about all of these crafts and like teaching them and got these dinosaur books. It's always usually the thing, like those small little things that they're like, I took on to that and I really liked it for some reason. Like it filled something for them. That I just love. I love that. Or like when you I used to have a little girl and she would put on my like shoes, my heels, and like kind of like walk around, just not heels, but just like little
She tried
wedges.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was just so sweet. And I was like, this is just, you just want, there's like parts of me that you like that inspire you or you aspire to be. And like, that's really, really moving and probably my favorite part of just like seeing the little nannies. Like
we're parenting with them, so I feel like it's like accomplishment with us when they like pick up something that we've been teaching them for this whole time. We're like, so like,
yeah, exactly. Or like when mom and dad say like, oh my gosh, you won't believe over the weekend they did this, and I'm like, really?
Right. And then they'd be like, and then sometimes they'll take the credit. I'm like, no, that was me. And I'm like, no, I did that one. I'm gonna let y'all do that one, but in me, I'm taking that credit because I'm like, I did that. Like, no, I know what you mean. It always was the fun thing, especially when you're working with little ones. They're like, yeah, they started doing this now. And you're like, yes, I've been working with him. Like, yeah, that's one of my favorite things about being a nanny as well. So, do you have anything else you would like to kind of like share about the modern nanny? Any advice? Maybe if somebody is feeling burnt out right now, what is like your go-to, I guess, advice that you always tell people? I guess I know you do a bunch on burnout, but do you like stick with like a motto, or you have chicken winner dinner? Do you do something
winner chicken dinner?
Yeah, do something with that with the modern nanny when people come to burnout?
I'm trying to think because it's like, I think it's like a big just affirming for nannies that like your boss parents don't need to be like the most toxic, the most dangerous of positions for you to set boundaries. Like I think sometimes we set these extreme examples where like, well, they're not evil, they're not so bad. Right. They did like offer me gas yesterday or something like
they bought me lunch.
They brought me lunch. So like I'll just let this one slide. But there's only so many that we can let this one slide before it becomes you've been okaying this the entire time. Like you've been allowing it. So just kind of like reminding nannies to kind of like, it's like empowering. Boundaries are empowering. It's taking your power. It's your power back.
Right. I love it. But I had to do it this week with the boss. I literally had to set a new boundary this week with them because I was like, oh no, that's not how it rolls over here with me. And I felt like empowered afterwards. I was like, yeah. Yeah.
You're like, okay, yeah. Like, and your body especially is gonna reward you because it's like, I've been screaming at you that this is too much for so long. Do something about it. Your body's gonna reward you the minute you like do it. But I would say, like they don't need to be the worst for you to need to set a boundary. Like it's okay. They could be even like the Pope and you need to set a boundary.
Your unicorn family, everybody.
Exactly. And you will still need to set boundaries. It's okay. And one, like if you're feeling burnt out and stressed out, booking an end of the year vacation isn't going to solve it.
It's the truth though. Because you got to do that when you get back.
Exactly. And sometimes we kind of like set up this like, oh, I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to go my beach side. I'm going to tan. I'm going to be all warm.
Recharge myself. Yeah. But then the second you get back.
Yeah. And you might recharge yourself for like a week, but it didn't like really get to the root things of like what caused you to be so desperate for this vacation in the first place.
Yep.
I guess that would just be mostly it. Like it's okay to need boundaries. You're not evil. They're not evil. It's all good.
Okay, yeah.
And then, one vacation isn't going to cure it. And you're worthy of making those steps every day
Yep.
of setting those boundaries. Like, you're absolutely worthy of it. I think oftentimes we, especially when we're in caregiving positions, like we prioritize ourselves as like the last.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like, I guess, another little tidbit, which is everybody's saying to put your oxygen mask on first. It's like vital for us in this industry to do. Like, we just can't survive unless we take care of ourselves.
I mean, it's the truth, though. I mean, that's the first, yeah. I mean, it's the 100% truth. And then a lot of it starts with this right here, which is starting with these boundaries. So if anybody is on the channel watching and y'all are burnt out, needs help with some boundaries, the modern nanny is Miss Sarah, will be able to help you. Please go hit her page up. She has all types of good information about how to start conversations, what burnout feels like, because some of us may not even realize we are burnt out. And
Totally.
you are burnt out. Like, so she helped me a lot. So I promise you she would definitely be able to help you guys. So thanks so much, Sarah, for sitting down with us and being able to kind of share and let everybody hear your story and how the modern nanny became the non-nanny.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Well, that is the end of our interview. Thank you so much, Sarah, for allowing us to sit down with you and getting to know you a little bit more. It's so crazy that me and you have been working almost in the same state for a majority of my time as being a nanny. And it's funny how we both haven't met yet. And you know what? We're going to change that, okay? We're both on the West Coast, so we have no choice but to make up a meetup spot. But you guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this interview and got to know Sarah a little bit more. She is very, very, just a very good person and a very good spirit. And she wants to make sure that none of us feel any of the pain and the struggles that she had faced when she was a nanny. And so that's why she started becoming the modern nanny and teaching us what burnout is and what burnout looks like and how not to become this burnout nanny. So, and then stop what you're doing and let's go follow our girl Sarah on Instagram. Her Instagram name is the.modern.nanny. That is her name. You can find her on Instagram, on Facebook. She also and let's give her a little shout out, okay? Let's give her some love. And if you feel like you are in a burnout situation right now as being a nanny, please go hit up Sarah or go follow her on her page. She has all the tea that you're gonna need to be able to get out of the situation that you're in or to maybe even improve the situation that you're in. So guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. We have one more interview next week and then we get back to our juicy stories. We got one more extraordinary nanny and I cannot wait for you guys to hear that one. So in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great Memorial weekend and we will see you all next week. Bye guys.